Welcome to Engaging Kitsap, a positive local forum where we bring engaging people, ideas, and organizations into our BCAT studio. Today we welcome Laura Ryser, Climate and Sustainability Manager for the City of Bainbridge Island. Laura is new to this position and will share her work with the city's Climate Action Plan and Island-wide Mobility Plan today. Welcome, Laura. Tell us about your role at the city. It's a new role for you personally, but it's also a new position for the city too.
Yeah, thanks, Colleen. So great to be here. Yep, it's been about 6-7 months now that I've been in this role. I started back in February. Previously, I had been with Pierce County doing similar work, and now really excited to be with the city. Really, my main role is to lead the implementation of our Climate Action Plan. And yeah, we can get into some of those details here.
Yeah, I'd love that. In the short period that you've been there, what have you prioritized of what you're doing?
Yeah, well, there's so much to learn, right? So anytime you're new, working in an organization, just like learning the ways within the organization and all the systems and all the people, but really it's getting to know the plan itself, right? So the plan has 170 actions in it. It's really aspirational and has some really big work to do. And part of the role has been, as part of my focus has been to understand what's happened so far and really starting to build the relationships with the people who have been doing this work before I started, which was really started back in 2017 with the formation of the Climate Change Advisory Committee. So it's really been a grassroots effort from the community, and the plan itself was developed and then approved by City Council in 2021. And so that's when the first climate manager was hired, was in 2021. And so she left onto new ventures, and then I started, and now I'm the second person in this role.
That's wonderful. Well, I understand it's a priority for the city given how they funded it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So this City Council back in 2021 identified climate change as one of the top priorities, and so I was able to put some general fund money behind this position. And so that's how we were able to move forward with the work.
That's wonderful. Well, The Climate Action Plan is a big document. You just mentioned 170 priorities for it. For those of us who aren't familiar with it, can you give us, explain the broader categories of climate work for us?
Yep. So if you look into climate work really around the country, and this is the case for the city of Bainbridge, it can be broken up into sort of two big buckets. The first is mitigation, and the second is adaptation or resilience. So in mitigation work, what we're doing is looking at sources of pollution of greenhouse gas emissions. So we're looking at where do we know that we have a lot of emissions and how can we reduce those? So that might be, that's the effort for electrification. That's the effort really to look at EVs or solar panels or options to reduce our emissions. And then the work in adaptation and resilience is how do we prepare proactively and plan for the interruptions and disruptions that we all experience. That might be extended power outages, that might be here in the central Puget Sound, high wind storms, increased rain events, increased drought. So how do we begin to plan and prepare as a community for making sure everybody is safe and has what they need? So those are the two big buckets to climate work.
Thanks. That's helpful to understand the context. What are some specific project examples that are part of that adaptation and mitigation that the city's working on?
Yep. So one of the projects that was going on before I started, and now I'm helping to move forward, is called it's the Kicking Gas Heat Pump Campaign.
Okay.
So this is an effort to support folks who would not necessarily be able to purchase a heat pump on their own. As a subsidy program. So we work with income-eligible households to install a heat pump that provides heating and air conditioning and cooling that comes from a source that's not emitting any emissions. So they're very clean, and they also help deal with some of the increased heat that we're experiencing. So folks who are older or more vulnerable to changes in our temperature. So now they have some cooling, and that's a really important public health side of the work as well, is to make sure that folks who are a little bit more vulnerable to these changes in weather and increased weather are okay. And then one of the other projects that's really impressive, I think, is coming in from the emergency management space. So the emergency manager with the city has helped to develop they're calling disaster hubs. So they took the whole island and broke it into 12 sections or 12 areas. and worked with the communities within those areas and identified buildings that people would go to in the event of some disaster or extended power outage, which the island experiences a lot. And the goal is to have these buildings be outfitted with a solar and potentially a battery storage system. That's going to take some time. And I believe there are about 3, disaster hubs that have those already.
That's great work. And there's a lot on your plate. Just a few months in this position. What's one thing that you really are looking to focus on amongst all these other goals?
Yeah, so hard to choose. Really just one. Really, I'm focused on the relationship building and the one-to-one meetings and understanding who's done this work already, who's not included in the conversation so far. So I'm really wanting to sort of expand folks who are participating sort of in the conversation of what these projects look like. And then big picture really is updating the plan itself. So the next 10 to 12 months, I'm really focused on, with the help of many other people, updating the plan itself to keep up with sort of current technologies and also really connecting with the needs and the voices of folks from within the community.
I think anytime you come into a new job, it's always important to meet the community that you'll be working with. So I think that's smart. For residents who want to be more sustainable in their own lives, what do you recommend?
Yeah, well, this is all really quite personal, right? Everyone's ability to step up and take action is different. So one of the frameworks I really love, this really great Venn diagram that Dr. Ayanna Elizabeth Johnson developed, basically looks at, take a look at what are you good at? Where are your skills? What brings you joy? And what work needs doing in your community? And try to find the sweet spot in the middle of that. And really, I think that's the biggest thing is understanding those pieces for yourself and then reaching out to your elected officials. It can be, hard to kind of know how to, but this is, we are working for local government here for everybody. So I encourage everybody to reach out to folks in your local government and express if this is something that you are really passionate about, to let them know that because they are the ones setting the priorities and the budget for the community.
Do you feel that, well, first of all, where can people find the Climate Action Plan and see how it fits into their lives?
Yep. So for Bainbridge Island, there is a website that has information related to the climate plan itself, the plan, and then different assessments and reports that have been done so far, and just some news and updates. The county is working on climate work as well. I've been in touch with some staff there. I don't know exactly if they have a website sort of showcasing all of the work that they are doing, but I know it is happening. You can find a lot of resources online if you look, but I would say, folks are welcome to reach out to me and I'm happy to connect anyone.
Okay, well, so besides the website where people can find information, what's another way people can learn about your work and what the city's programs are for encouraging people to be more sustainable?
Yeah, I think just really, for finding information, look around, you talk to your neighbors, see what nonprofits or local organizations have work happening. If there's a particular concern you have, I think just start talking to people around you about it. You'd be surprised how many projects and initiatives and efforts are happening. It might not be as formal as starting a nonprofit. There's lots of great work happening all around in our communities and in our neighborhoods, really to keep an eye on each other, make sure we're safe and make sure that we're connected when some big weather comes through and we do have some disruptions, right? We're not living necessarily in a place with a lot of hurricanes where folks there have to deal with a lot of flooding and that level, but we're dealing with and collectively are going to be facing lots of big changes and continue to. And so I think just talking to each other about what people experience, and this is personal, right? It's finding your own connection to it.
Well, it's interesting that you say that because I don't think people think about being in touch with their neighbors and figuring collectively how they're going to deal with emergencies and challenges as being climate work, but it is though, right?
It very much is. Yeah, I mean, this is the foundation, really. It's our relationships with each other, right? And at the core, sustainability is much more about people being connected to each other and sharing information. And maybe you have something that I need and I have something that you need. Maybe I can I grow some food, or I have the ability to take care of and interested to take care of kids, right, and can help in that way, or helping with transportation. It's, I don't want to say it's going to get a lot harder, but all the climate scientists have been saying for quite some time what our future looks like for the heat and the temperatures and our intense storms, and continue to. And so just understanding each other's stories in that way, I think, is really powerful.
I read in the most recent e-newsletter from the city, you had something in there about the expiration of some incentives. So tell us about that.
Right. Yep. So that's a good thing to make note for folks to know. Yep. So there are some tax credits that are expiring. So if anyone's interested in purchasing an electric vehicle, you have until September 30th to...
that's right around the corner.
Right around the corner to receive a tax credit for that, which is, I believe, $7,500. And then if anyone's interested and ready to install solar panels, there's I believe it's a 30% back on the cost of that as a tax credit, and that's by the end of the year.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's good for people to know.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming and sharing your work with us. It's great to learn about the Climate Action Plan. And what I'd love to do is have you back maybe in a year from now and just see how your work's evolving, and share for people how they might participate.
Great. Happy to. Yeah.
Okay.
That'd be great.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah. Thanks, Kelly.
You've been watching Engaging Kitsap, a positive local forum where we bring engaging people, ideas, and organizations into the BCAT studio. Thanks for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you next time.